everyone, I'm back again. Hopefully you like this week's video. Now this video is not made to change your personal or political views in any way whatsoever. I'm merely sharing educational information that relates to anthropology. So it seems that there's a lot of confusion about the differences between Muslim culture and the Islamic faith. Many of the problems portrayed with Islam, the religion, are in fact problems with the cultural differences, traditions, and politics of Muslim populated areas. People have a habit of grouping these together, but they're not always interchangeable. So today I will be discussing the misconceptions associated with Muslims and the Islamic faith. I hope that by the end of the video you will be more aware of the similarities and differences between the two terms. Now, recent polls have shown that 70% of Americans are unfamiliar with Islam. 70%. Now, it's important for people to distinguish the differences between cultural practices by Muslims and the religious practices of Islam. An author named Tamim Sadi gives a really good example of how religious practices and cultural practices are not always synonymous. So, imagine a Catholic family in Italy and their way of life, and compare that to a Catholic family that's in New York. Now, they both do practice the same religion, but they're going to have a lot of cultural differences that we can't actually base just on their religion. So keep in mind that geography is also important. Now, the same mindset can be applied to Muslims from distinct parts of the world. So although many of them share the same religion, they do have unique differences culturally. Now, the media likes to mention Islamic countries when they actually mean Muslim majority countries. And many of these countries practice Islamic, pre-Islamic, and also or separate non-Islamic religions, So some of these places do practice Christianity as well. So that's kind of misleading when we call them Islamic countries because it's basing this off of the Muslim majority in those countries. So another thing, a lot of these countries have patriarchal societies, and this is true even for today, and that's where a lot of people get some confusion. They become confused because they attribute the patriarchal norms with the Islamic faith because of the cultural practices of a certain geographical area. So these patriarchal societies have their own cultural norms that people begin to associate with the Islamic faith, and that's not always true. Not all practices made by Muslims are directly related to Islam or taken from the Quran. So Tamim Sadi, the author I mentioned earlier, states that it is unfair to judge Christianity for unchristian and inappropriate actions of some who may call themselves a Christian. Now, it is equally unfair to judge Islam by un-Islamic and inappropriate actions of some who call themselves Muslim. Did you guys hear that in the back? It is equally unfair to judge Islam by un-Islamic and inappropriate actions of some who call themselves Muslim. Seems simple enough, right? Don't judge a group of people by the actions of one. Don't we hear that all the time? So why can't we apply that in our daily lives? We should all try. So remember, any belief or practice which does not go back or relate to the Quran or Sunnah is not an Islamic practice. Not an Islamic practice. Okay, so this next part I'm going to talk about is the common misconceptions that surround Muslims and Islam. And a lot of these misconceptions are from the media primarily, so just be careful where you're getting your information about people because it can be misconstrued. Okay, so admit it, a lot of you and other people think that Muslims are turban-wearing men with long beards, but really out of the 1.6 billion Muslims worldwide, Arabs only make up 15%, and Africa makes up 27%, and the remaining Muslims are located throughout East Asia. So no. They're not all bearded men with turbans. They come from all kinds of places, all over the world, everywhere. Now, this is something that drives me crazy. The word Allah. It is probably the most frustrating thing that I see and that people misunderstand every day. The word Allah is not referring to the God in Islam. It's actually the Arabic word for God. I repeat, the word Allah is the Arabic word for God, not just the God in Islam. So I hate to break it to you guys, if you're Christian and you want to learn Arabic or you want to speak Arabic, the word for the Christian God is also Allah. So that's a huge issue. When people hear Allah, they immediately associate it with Islam, even though there are Christians that practice Christianity in different places that are Muslim populated, and they still use the word Allah to describe the Christian God. So that's important. Not everyone that says Allah immediately and automatically follows Islam. They may just be an Arabic-speaking Christian. The next thing, forced marriages. These are actually unacceptable according to the Quran. And the Quran specifically states to those who believe or are reading it, quote, "It is not lawful for you to inherit the women by forcibly or unwillingly, ... In Islam, marriage is done through agreement by both parties involved, and the same goes for..." Okay, another thing, Muslims do not reject Jesus and actually consider him to be a prophet and a messenger of God. Just like Abraham, Noah, and other prophets that are mentioned in the Bible, Jesus is mentioned as a prophet in the Holy Quran. Did you catch that? Jesus exists in Islam. It's a little bit different, but he exists. Another problem that people have is that Islam doesn't like other religions. It's actually not true. Islam gives respect and freedom to all faiths, and the Prophet Muhammad actually provided protection to the Jews and the Christians. And that's not something we hear people talk about very often in modern society. Bad-mouthing any other religion is actually prohibited in Islam, so keep that in mind. Okay, so the final misconception that I will mention is the idea that religion and science are incompatible. The Quran actually emphasizes the importance of seeking knowledge and verifying that information. It also encourages reflection. So Islam promotes history, archaeology, anthropology, and other types of sciences. So don't be fooled. Islam is accepting of science. And also, they are accepting of Christians and Jews, and there have been plenty of times throughout history where Muslims and Jews and Christians, all different types of people, lived harmoniously. All right, next is a buzzword, jihad. So this is a word that people commonly misuse. Jihad translates to the struggle for God, and many people assume that this means war. That's not true. So the struggle for God can be something like wearing a headscarf where it's uncommon or unfavorable, or just saving money to donate. This can also refer to a struggle to do good things for other people, since it doesn't always come easily to do good things. That's considered a struggle. And no, Muslims do not starve themselves completely for a month. So when Muslims are partaking in Ramadan, they fast from sunrise to sunset, and then they have a large feast a lot of the time around sunset, or they're raiding the fridge at 3 a.m. It's okay. They do eat, just not from sunrise to sunset. Muslim women are not forced to cover up. Islamic teachings require women to dress modestly, but the extent of that modesty varies religiously and culturally. So again, this is going to vary from place to place, and it doesn't always relate directly to the religion. Okay, I know I said that the other one was going to be my last misconception, but I had to add some more. This is about polygamy. Now, polygamy is the act of men being able to have multiple wives, and during the rise of Islam, roughly 1400 years ago, women actually needed marriages as a means of protection, housing, and employment. And Muslim men were actually not allowed to marry multiple women if they weren't able to financially and emotionally take care of them. So if they weren't capable of taking care of multiple women, they weren't allowed to marry them. Okay, you guys made it through the whole video. Thank you so much for watching this. I know it's a difficult topic, but in this video we reviewed the Islamic faith and the differences that come both religiously and culturally to Muslim people. And please use these terms properly and do not assume an action of a Muslim person is directly related to their religion, or that a religious action is the same for all Muslim people. So please be kind, be aware, be informed, and stay curious. That is what will benefit the world the most. Thanks for listening again, guys. Keep me posted on ideas, and I'll keep trying to make videos as much as I can. I really do enjoy educating people on current events and topics, and even controversial things as well. So thank you so much.